Welcome to RMTC-DHH's series on the high leverage practices for students with disabilities. In this video, we will be discussing the 11th, 12th, and 13th high leverage practices from the CEC and CEEDAR Center's publication, High Leverage Practices in Special Education. This video was made in collaboration with PSRTI, the Problem Solving and Response to Intervention project. So far in this series, we've covered the practices in the collaboration, assessment, and social-emotional behavioral domains. Now, we will focus on the last domain of instructional. HLP 11 states, identify and prioritize long and short-term learning goals. HLP 12 states, systematically design instruction toward a specific learning goal. HLP 13 states, adapt curriculum tasks and materials for specific learning goals. Why are we discussing all three in one video? Because the common theme for all three HLPs is goals. There are several research findings that emphasize the importance of goal setting and implementing. Hattie concluded with his barometer of influence several influences that impact learning related to goals. Clear goal intentions and goal commitment both have an effect size of 0.44. Teacher clarity at 0.85, which is clearly communicating the learning intentions of the lessons, and outcomes-based education of 0.97, which is based on developing the desired outcomes of the education experience and expecting all students to then reach those benchmark goals. All of these findings indicate positive outcomes for all students, including students who are DHH. Let's look at HLPs 11, 12, and 13 through the lens of the problem-solving process within the multi-tiered system of supports, MTSS framework, as described by PSRTI. Step 1. Problem identification. What is occurring? Step 2. Problem analysis. Why is the problem occurring? HLP 11 aligns with these two steps as understanding the problem and its underlying causes is a prerequisite for establishing both short and long-term goals. Next, step 3, instruction or intervention design. What are we going to do about it? HLP 12 aligns with step 3 with systematically designing instruction. And lastly, step 4, response to intervention, or RTI, is what we decided to do working. HLP 13 of providing adaptations aligns with steps 3 and 4. Let's talk about steps 1 and 2 first. Prioritizing goals based on student needs and communicating these goals effectively are essential components of effective instruction. By identifying and analyzing student needs in each of the IEP domains through assessment, educators can tailor instruction to meet the needs of all learners. Communicating goals to students helps them to understand what they are expected to learn and why it's important. Collaborating with stakeholders, including the family, helps ensure that everyone is working toward the same goals and that students receive consistent messages about what they are expected to learn. Looking for suggestions on assessments to use for students who are DHH? Check out the videos on the assessment HLPs, which are HLP 4, 5, and 6. Goals can be set for any of the domains in the IEP: curriculum and learning, social or emotional behavior, independent functioning, healthcare, or communication. Students who are deaf and hard of hearing may need goals in all of these areas, some of these areas, or only one of these areas. And remember, communication goals can include the use of spoken language, sign language, augmentative and alternative communication, AAC, or a combination thereof. But what does a good goal look like? Goals must be SMART, meaning specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's look at an example of a SMART goal. Within 1 calendar year, with instruction in phonics with visual supports, Jim will decode consonant-vowel-consonant combinations, for example, cat, with 80% accuracy and 3 out of 4 data collection opportunities, measured through observation by the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing and the SLP. It is specific because it discusses the specific instruction that will be used, instruction in phonics with visual supports, and the expected outcome of Jim will be able to decode consonant-vowel-consonant combinations. It is measurable with 80% accuracy and 3 out of 4 data collection opportunities. And it is both achievable and relevant to the application of the goal as it relates to the child's present levels of performance. Remember, the same goal may be attainable for one student and not for the other, as they may not be performing at the same levels. Knowing the child's present levels of performance is crucial to writing appropriate goals. And lastly, it is time-bound, within 1 calendar year. We've talked about setting goals by identifying and analyzing them. Now let's talk about designing instruction and intervention and implementing appropriate accommodations. There are 3 components of systematically designing instruction to learning goals. First, clear goals must be set, as we just discussed, by the use of SMART goals. Next, you must organize and sequence lessons logically to build on and target larger goals. And lastly, support students in organizing new knowledge by providing scaffolds and structures for learning. This can be done through the use of gradual release. I do, the teacher models. We do, the teacher and the students do the task together. You do, the student does it independently. Now, let's talk about providing adaptations to the task or materials to achieve the specific goal you put in place. There are 2 types of adaptations: accommodations and modifications. Accommodations are changes that are made in how the student accesses the information and demonstrates performance. Modifications are changes in what a student is expected to learn and may include changes to content, requirements, and expected level of mastery. It should be noted that only students who are on alternate learning standards are permitted to have modifications to the curriculum. For more on the difference between accommodations and modifications, see the Accommodations Manual on the Florida Department of Education website. Let's talk about accommodations. Ms. in a minute. Myth: every student who is DHH needs extra time. Fact: accommodations are individual and should use data-driven decisions. Which leads us to our next point. Identifying effective accommodations takes more than picking from a list or a menu. An effective teacher tailors adaptations to specific student needs, drawing upon information from a range of data sources, as seen in HLP 4, which includes colleagues, as seen in HLP 1, and family members, as seen in HLP 3, while regularly evaluating the impact of adaptations on student learning outcomes and making adjustments as needed, as seen in HLP 6. Looking for more tips on accommodations and including students who are DHH in the general education classroom? Check out the resources on our accommodations page. The last step in the cycle is to progress monitor the response to the intervention and instruction and accommodations that you choose. As we've discussed in previous videos, progress monitoring is crucial in the instructional cycle and will help ensure that the instruction or accommodations that you design is working toward the goals that you set. If the student is not showing any progress or is regressing, this will let you know that adjustments in the instruction or accommodations need to be made. If the student is progressing, it will let you know that the strategies are successful. How much growth is needed to know if the progress is successful? Check out the HLP 6 video to learn more. Step 4 allows us to come back together as a team and design the best next steps in this cyclical cycle of the problem-solving process. The utilization of this process aligns the goals to the specific needs of the students to optimize outcomes for all students. Want to learn more about the problem-solving process? Go to the PSRTI online course, An Overview of 4-Step Problem Solving. We will leave you with this point to ponder. Thinking through the problem-solving process, what tools do you use to progress monitor strategies or accommodations to ensure student success? Come to the TA Live discussion to learn how your colleagues address this question, and share your thoughts to collaborate together. Remember to check out additional resources in the Live Binder. You can access the Live Binder on the RMTC-DHH TA Live website or by going to the bit.ly/RMTC-HLP. Can't make it to the discussion session? Or perhaps you're watching a recording of this at a later time. An idea to still work within your district is to visit the Iris Center HLP Interactive Alignment Tool. This tool identifies which Iris resource provides information on each specific HLP. Where can you find the information for the Iris Center? If you guessed the Live Binder, you are right. Remember, you can find that at bit.ly/RMTC-HLP. To watch more videos about the HLPs, make sure you check out the TA Live archive in our video library. Until next time, we'll see you around. This presentation was funded by the Florida Department of Education, Bureau of Exceptional Education and Student Services through federal assistance under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Part B funds. The information included does not reflect any specific endorsement by any parties involved.